My brother-in-law is convinced that I have feelings for him. Am I somehow to blame for his misunderstanding? Pretty much what the title says. I've never posted on here before, but I do like to read the stories sometimes. Let's call my sister Diana and her boyfriend Mike. I'm the youngest of my 3 siblings, Diana, and my brother, who we'll call Carlos. I came out as gay when I was 14, and my immediate family, my parents and siblings, were all supportive. My extended family, uncles, aunts, cousins, and grandparents are less accepting, so I don't tend to be as out and open around them. I graduated high school and started college 2 years ago when I was 17. I go to the same college that my sister is doing grad school at, and to save costs, I've been staying with her and her then fiancé at their apartment. Mike had always been really nice, and I was happy that my sister was with a nice guy. My siblings and I have always been super close, and that closeness didn't go away when I started living with Diana, so I would often end up hanging out with them and their friends sometimes. The semester just ended for the 2 of us, and we all went home this weekend to stay with my parents. We had a big family dinner, during which Mike kept making little jokes about me liking older guys. My BF is 23, and how he would try to keep me away from him and his buddies. Me and my siblings questioned him about these jokes he was making, until he finally stopped making them. That was last night. This morning my siblings and my parents went on a hike, which is a family activity that we usually enjoy thanks to us living close to the woods. I slept in and no one wanted to bother me, so they went without me. I figured that everyone had gone, but when I was eating my cereal in the living room and watching TV, Mike came out of the kitchen and sat next to me. I was surprised to see him, as I figured that he would have gone on the hike, but I guess not. He started by apologizing for making fun of me, and then said that it was just a nervous tic of his when he didn't want to talk about something serious. He said that it was wrong of him to joke about my crush on him. I was super confused and asked for clarification, and he said that he knew about the crush I have on him, which I don't. I asked him why he would think that, and he cited a few things that he took as me liking him. 1, that I would always hang out with him and Diana. 2, that I chose to live with them instead of dorms. 3, that he barely knew my boyfriend. And 4, that I didn't bring my boyfriend to their wedding. I tried to tell him that he was insane and that none of that meant I liked him, and they all had real explanations, but he just insisted that I was just trying to cover up the fact that I was in love with him. That was a few hours ago. I haven't told anyone in my family this yet, and I didn't have lunch with my family since I've had plans to be out with high school friends all day. One friend suggested that I post this here, so I guess that's why I'm doing this. I'll be sure to update if anything serious happens. Thanks for reading, LOL. Comment 1. This is such a strange situation. It's frustrating when someone misinterprets your friendship like that. Comment 2. I think talking to Diana about it could help clear the air. You deserve to feel comfortable around them. Small update. Hello everyone. I had no idea that this would take off the way it did. I have a bit of a small update. I spent the night at my friend's house last night. This was planned before any of this. This morning I woke up and saw all of your comments and speculations. I took some time to reflect on the 2 main possibilities that you all seem to have come up with. Either he's one of those straight guys that thinks that all gay guys are attracted to him, definitely met a few of those, or B, he likes me and is projecting it, or trying to make it sound like my idea. After thinking about it a lot, I think that it is more likely to be the second option. I am a person who really loves physical displays of affection, like hugs and cuddles and stuff. My siblings and I are super close, like I said, so I was used to showing my affection this way. Looking back, I realized that Mike was more than willing to show affection this way, as my sister is the same. Mike and Diana had been dating since high school, but I only really got to know him in the last 2 years at college. He was always open to physical affection with me, right off the bat. There have been many comments that he has made that I took as harmless at the time, but now with the context I realize may have been clues. He would almost always ask me how he looked like before he went out for the day and would, in turn, compliment me back. I took things that he said as jokes, like when he told me that my ass looked good in an outfit, or he would tell me that I looked just like my sister, who is gorgeous. I always took this as him being nice, but now I'm not sure if that was his only intention. Anyway, to the actual update. This morning I called for a sibling meeting at a diner that we like to go to. Sibling meetings are something that we've been doing since we were kids, where we'd talk about things like convincing our parents to get us a pet, or splitting the household chores. We met at the diner for brunch, and my brother immediately went on and said how weird it was that Mike was making jokes about me. Diana said that he was still making jokes to her privately after dinner, and that it wasn't the first time he had made those types of jokes. She said that she figured that he was one of those guys who thought that gay guys liked him. But then I told them about his apology yesterday morning, and all the comments and other jokes he's made, and we all think it was pretty weird. I showed them my post and they briefly read through the comments as well. My sister said that she would talk to him about it, and told me that no matter what happened, she would never hold anything against me, or blame me for anything, so that was reassuring. We had food and I went back to my friend's house and my sister said she would let me know if anything happens. I also texted my boyfriend about all this. He's British, so we have a bit of a time difference. He hasn't responded, but I want to be sure to keep him in the loop as well. I'm currently with my friends, watching them play a video game, and pretending to know what's going on lol. I'll keep y'all updated. Update 2. Hello everyone. I would first like to say thank you all for your support in the comments of my last post and in your guys' private messages to me. After the last mini update I had logged off of Reddit, and a lot of things have happened, so I honestly kind of forgot that I even had this account still. Coincidentally, I was on TikTok a while ago when I found one of those AI voice accounts that raid Reddit stories over someone playing Minecraft parkour. Those types of videos are like weeds. Once you see one of them, your entire timeline gets flooded with them. Earlier today, a video with part of my Reddit post came across my FYP, and the comments were full of people asking if there was any updates. It has been over a year. And I am so sorry for keeping you all in the dark. I saw that my last post was archived and nobody could comment on it, so I figured I should make a new post. For those of you who might be seeing me for the first time ever, I believe you can find my first post on my page. I would recommend reading that before you read this one. I would also like to issue a trigger warning for sexual assault. Now on to the whole mess that was the past year for me. So, the last time I updated y'all was in May of last year. Me and my siblings were all on summer break from college and were home for the summer. So, the day after I talked to my siblings at the diner, I returned home from my friend's house and everything seemed normal. My sister informed me that she had talked to her boyfriend, that he had seemed more receptive to her concerns, and he was a lot more calm towards me. He stayed with us until the end of that week, where no further incident occurred between us. Before he left to go visit his own family, he's on the complete other side of the country as us. A little after his departure, I noticed that I couldn't find my favorite pair of underwear after doing a load of laundry. At the time, I just chalked it up to it being lost in the wash, or maybe mixed up with someone else's clothes. They were a pair of pink briefs, which I find to be more comfortable for my body type than other forms of underwear, and unfortunately for me, considered more sexy. I'm sure you can all understand what actually happened to them. My sister only stayed with us for 2 weeks, as her job was only allowing her so much time that she could be remote. From what I knew, her boyfriend had returned to her apartment around the same time as her. I stayed for the whole month, before I too had to return to the city our college is in, because I had gotten a summer internship in that city. So I was back to staying with my sister and her boyfriend. A few weeks into that, my sister was out for the night because of her friend's bachelorette party, and her boyfriend was out at a bar with his friends, which left me alone in the apartment for the night. I had a movie night, and went to bed early. I awoke in the middle of the night to my sister's boyfriend in my bed, touching me. When he noticed I was awake, he held me down and assaulted me. The whole time he was doing it, he was threatening my and my sister's lives, saying that if I told her, or anyone, he would kill both of us. My sister ended up staying the night at her friend's place, and her boyfriend assaulted me 2 more times before she came home. I was pretty broken by that point, and his threats against our lives were ringing in my ears all the time. This cycle continued, where my sister's boyfriend would act withdrawn from me when around others, especially my sister, then assault me whenever he could, threatening both of our lives if I ever spoke up. It's such a difficult thing to describe. The rational part of your brain tells you that it is just a manipulation tactic, that he was lying, and that I needed to speak up, but the irrational part of my brain was so scared. I don't know if that makes sense to you all. Maybe those of you who have been through a similar situation as me might understand it. I also began to change, my usually happy and bubbly personality changing to a more withdrawn, moody, almost depressed one. I took to wearing less revealing clothes, especially at home. Think from tank tops and booty shorts to t-shirts and pants, a reminder that this was happening in summer, so my previous wardrobe was better for the weather. About 3 months later, in September, when I was back to school and done with the summer internship, my sister was doing laundry one day, and decided to surprise me by doing mine too, because she is a sweetheart like that. She also decided to wash my sheets for me, and that's when she saw that there were blood stains on my sheets. This immediately raised concerns with her. So that day, when I came home from campus, I found my sister on the couch, with the sheet next to her. She tentatively asked me if I had been self-harming, as she herself had been through that struggle. She has scars on her thighs from doing it. She told me that my recent change of mood and the fact that I had changed my wardrobe to be more covered up, especially my legs, had her worried. I told her I was not, but could offer no explanation as to why the sheets were bloody. It was then that I broke down and had a huge panic attack. My sister tried to calm me down at first, but when that didn't help, and I was still struggling, she decided to take me to the ER. The attack lasted for about 45 minutes, only going away when they gave me some sort of medication to help me calm down. Apologies. My memories from this particular part are a little spotty. Once I calmed down, I was allowed to stay in the hospital room for a little bit, and when it was eventually me and my sister, where I confessed it all to her, she was extremely comforting, and asked me when the last time he had assaulted me was. It was the night before, so she pressed the little doctor-nurse call thing, and told them that I was going to need a rape kit. For those of you who want the specifics of that process, please Google it. After that, I just wanted to go home. My sister took me and left me in her car at first, then came out and ensured that her boyfriend was not there yet. She texted him and told him to not come home, as the two of us were really sick, and we did not want to infect him. The next day, instead of going to our classes, she took me to our local police station to file a police report. This whole process was also long and laborious. And honestly, my memory surrounding it all is kind of hazy, something my therapist says can happen with traumatic experiences, but with the evidence found from the rape kit and my testimony, he got a sentence of 4 years and a fine. And he has to register on the sex offender registry. I am doing much better now. My schooling was only a little bit affected, but nothing too bad, and I'm on summer break again. My sister and I are both close still, we are both in therapy, and I am getting through things day by day. I am currently writing this from home, and I'm flying out to London next week to see my boyfriend. I will try to not forget this page again, haha. Now, for the next story. My husband's affair daughter was dropped off at our house 2 weeks ago, and it's causing issues in our marriage. My 34 female life is falling apart, and it's all thanks to my husband. We had a perfect life. Both of us worked in the jobs we loved. We have a beautiful daughter, 10 female, and a healthy son, 5 male. When I was pregnant with our son, we both almost died due to complications. So before the birth and even afterwards, I didn't want to have sex. Why would I? I almost died and my body was in pain for months afterwards, even with strong medication. I thought my husband understood because he never pushed me for sex or even asked. I thought it was because he understood my pain, but apparently he was just getting it from somewhere else. A few months ago, we were visited by Child Protective Services. I was terrified at first, frantically thinking of what we did wrong with our children to cause a visit. But no. As it turns out, some woman I've never met before died in a car accident, leaving behind a daughter. And my husband's name was on the girl's birth certificate, and he was named in the woman's will as the father. I thought it was a mistake at first, until my husband told me the truth. As it turns out, while I was suffering my pregnancy and the after effects of almost dying, my husband would go to a woman he knew at work and get it off with her. He said this as if he did me a favor. Well, as the CPS worker explained to us, my husband is her closest living relative that can care for her. The woman's family apparently wanted nothing to do with the poor little girl. When she asked us if we wanted to take her in, I said yes. Yes, I know this might be the true cause of all my issues. But my husband pawned that poor girl off to live with her single mother for 5 years. He doesn't get to pawn her away when she needs help. She's his responsibility, and now is ours. I told him I'll help take care of the necessary visits for wellness checks, and help with whatever CPS wants us to do. All he had to do was explain everything to our children. The fact I'm saying this tells you what he did. Yes, nothing. We had to clean out a room and buy new furniture, and even look for some toys. Our children go to a private school, so I picked up some more work hours in order to be able to afford her tuition. I was the one who had to tell our extended families the big change because he didn't want to do so. I did almost all the heavy lifting. So color me shocked when his daughter finally joins our family 2 weeks ago, and the first words out of our children's mouths was, "Who's that?" Yes, I was the one who had to tell our children's school, extended families, family doctors, and my workplace about my husband's affair and subsequent addition to our family. But he couldn't tell our children, being he was too ashamed to face them. So guess who was the one who had to explain that they have a sister now, as I'm trying to settle the poor girl into her new home and room? And shocker, our children didn't take the news well, as it was happening right in front of them. My daughter was screaming while crying, causing my son and the little girl to cry. A situation that could have been avoided if my husband just did the one thing I asked of him and explained everything to them much sooner. It's been 2 weeks of her living with us, and the situation hasn't improved. My husband has not picked up the slack that comes with having a new addition to the family, so we're struggling right now to make ends meet. I feel embarrassed bringing all 3 children around for appointments and groceries because the little girl is very much obviously not mine and I can tell people are judging our family. My daughter is much moodier and less happy and refuses to even acknowledge our newest addition to the family. Our son doesn't really understand what is going on and it's causing even him to lash out. And I don't even know how to help the poor little girl because I know that if I feel like my life is falling apart, she must feel even worse. I suggested family therapy, therapy for our children, even just marriage therapy so we can hopefully move past this and work together as a unit for all the children. He's refused everything, saying that he knows he'll be lectured by everyone when all he was doing was trying to help me. I just don't know how to fix this. Please help me. I don't want to divorce him because I just know that will make it worse for the kids, but that's the only option my family is telling me. Meanwhile, his family is begging me to make this work and to just look past it. Yeah. Thank you, I hear you all loud and clear. We'll be looking into therapy for me and the children and hopefully a good divorce lawyer. But first I need to get some answers because some of you are raising some good points. Comments. Comment 1. This. Take your babies and go up. He can hire a sitter to care for his daughter. Your first priority has to be your kids and your daughter sounds like she is not doing well. Find an apartment and separate your finances. If, even after that, he still won't do anything, which I suspect he won't, then what more proof do you need that he's a despicable loser? Comment 2. Not at all. My nibblings were removed from their home recently, so I have a basic understanding of the process, which includes questionnaires and interviews for those accepting custody and any other family members available to help. CPS doesn't drop a kid off at a family member's door el mayo. The kids go to a foster home while background checks and interviews are done. Update 1. I'm sorry, you all were right. It was a lie. When all of you were pointing out how the kids' responses to youngest arriving didn't make sense, it made me realize how correct that is. They came home to a room all made up, and I made passing comments to them asking about how excited they were for youngest's arrival. They should have known about her. At this point I decided to just ask my eldest daughter directly because she was still so upset about it, and I think subconsciously knew I wasn't going to get the truth from husband. So I went to her room while she was lying in bed and I asked her. I told her that I asked her father to explain to the two of them what was going to happen. They saw her new room. I talked about her to them, so I don't understand my eldest's reaction. So yes, it turns out husband didn't tell them and then me the truth. A surprise to no one I am figuring out. The story he told the kids was that youngest was a daughter of one of our friends, and we felt so bad we had to take her in. Nothing about her being their half-sister, or him having a daughter with another woman. Well, when she came home that day and the kids asked who she was, the pictures we were able to share of youngest, she had braids in and wore much different clothing then. When she arrived, it was my response to them that ruined his little lie. This is youngest's name, your half-sister. Remember, our son was too young to really get what it meant, but our daughter did. That's why she freaked out that day. Not because of the new addition to the family, but because what the new addition meant. I apologize for causing her to freak out that day, for not sitting both her and her brother down for a real discussion over how they feel, and to make sure their father did what he was supposed to do, and apologize for only talking to her now after she had a much-deserved reaction to it all. My daughter accepted the apology, and I asked her if that was why she was distant from the youngest. She told me that's part of it, and because word got out at her school about what the newest addition to our family going to the school meant, so now she's getting teased and picked on for having a father who cheated. It broke my heart realizing just how badly I messed up. By continuing to beg the spineless man they called a father to help them and then allowing myself to get shut down, I was essentially allowing all the kids' needs to be ignored. I told daughter I'll sign her and her brother and sister up for therapy. Of course the pathetic man tried to plead with me not to when I mentioned signing the kids up, but I told him to give it up already. All 3 children's lives have changed, and it will help them adjust with a professional to speak to. He's been grumbling and whining about it, but I don't care anymore. And this might cause many to be upset with me, but I'm in the process with husband to have him transfer custody of youngest to me. I've grown to care for her, and as some comments in my last post have pointed out, once I do divorce him and leave with our kids, I don't doubt he'll treat her awfully or neglect her. He's been right on board, and it took some convincing, but his parents finally agreed to be witnesses. I got all the paperwork set up and scheduled an appointment with an attorney to help with anything else. Once that happens, I'll try to get everything I need in order to have a smoother divorce, and then subsequent move to be closer to my family. Thank you to everyone for giving me a good slap in the face and helped me realize that the children and I deserve better, and I was being so gullible into thinking a man who cheats on his dying pregnant wife is deserving of any respect.